Welcome to TRADEREP. This is Short Hammer. It is the 28th of June, 2019, and we are looking at Microsoft. Now, Microsoft has pulled back from these highs, and as you can see, it tried to bounce here. We have to see if we're going to get a potential rollover or a pop. It just seems slightly indecisive, probably because we're headed into the G20, and a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines. Also, it's the summertime, so you never know. But what's interesting is these are our supply lines, not zones, supply lines. These are some lines that do really quickly on Microsoft. So we have the 132.71, the 134.10, not as strong, so you see it's a different color, and the 135.71. Those are the immediate areas I'm watching on Microsoft. This is on our daily chart. Now let's slide this daily chart to the left. Now on our 5-minute chart, if we'll take a peek at this, we'll see that we opened up on Microsoft. It spiked above the main intraday pivot, this yellow dashed line, but it didn't stay above there on the 5-minute. We pulled below, see these lower wicks. We bounced and went back above the weekly pivot here. Tried to push through the main intraday pivot. One candle closed above on the 5-minute chart, but then we sort of pulled back down. You saw the weakness here. Bounced on this, so you technically could have looked at this as a channel, immediate channel. 1, 2, 3 higher lows. Could have gotten in here long, use this as your stop. So not too bad. Not wouldn't be bad. And your plan would be to take this back and exit on the approach or retest of the yellow dash line main intraday pivot. So a little channel here. And you could technically went short here to see if it went back down, but headed into the close, I probably wouldn't have, just based on the time left on the day. Not important. But so you see this curve here, and we push back up over the VWAP, and the 134.24 for a small portion of the day was an area where Microsoft was bouncing on these pullbacks and pushing back up. And let's slide this to the left. Let me tell you why this is important, because Microsoft is the most heavily weighted stock on the S&P. So let's slide this to the left. And this is the chart, the main chart that I watch intraday on a much bigger screen. But I'm using the smaller screen because for some strange reason it's distorted when I record on my bigger screen. So I want you to see, this is why you don't preempt or guess where something is going to go. So right around this 1 o'clock time frame through to this 1:30ish, 1:40ish time frame, I got short on the SPY. It's going to be a quick scalp. Grabbed a bunch of contracts, figured it was going to get down. I actually grabbed contracts and shares. And it wasn't a good idea because Amazon was holding above this 1907 area here. So it wasn't a good idea. That's one. Now, Amazon is the third most heavily weighted stock on the S&P. I think number 2 is Apple. But I wasn't watching Apple at this time. I had something else here. I was watching Amazon, Microsoft, and SPY, and I was short the SPY. So the SPY also was holding above this 291.74 area. It had some support. And what's funny is when I got short, I was green on it, so I could have exited, but I wanted capitulation. Got a little greedy there. So I was a little bit greedy. So the reason why it didn't work, let's get to the point. So this time frame right in here is 115, 110, and I was also watching Microsoft, which was below the VWAP. So my thought process was, this is going to work. Microsoft is going to capitulate, roll to the downside, potentially go to the bottom of the channel, which is what I was, thinking that's going to happen. But what actually happened was Brutus E2, or as we call it, Microsoft, it pushed up, it spiked on me. And this is 115, 120, 125, 130, 135. This thing is, I'm like, what are you doing, Microsoft? And of course, these followers, Amazon, 120, 125, 130, 135. The same thing here. If you look at the SPY at the same time frame, 120, 125, 130, 135, just squeezing to the upside, following this push and this curve and the push through the VWAP on Microsoft. So that's why I usually watch all three of these. If I'm trading Amazon, I'm watching the SPY and Microsoft to see the direction, see if we're getting a push here. I should also be watching Apple, but usually I have another ticker here that I may be either swinging or scalping on the day. But that's why I got squeezed out of my position, and it's 100% my fault because I preempted. I was still above support, above the pivot on both of these, and you can see the buyers stepping in every time we push down here and a little push up. So I could have actually held because we technically didn't break through the supply area, but it was just a quick scalp. It wasn't really a serious play. I was just like, I'll preempt this. If this works, it works. If it doesn't, I have a tight stop on it. Not a big deal. But I didn't expect Microsoft to push back through the VWAP.